Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Good. I already did make a post here about the performance discrepancy between unbuffered and buffered file I/O, as we have measured in the previous session. Okay, so we certainly have a definite lead. We should try to get rid of the unbuffered I/O. I'm thinking that maybe we should first move the files to core before we continue touching the file system code. Because as far as I'm aware, the file I/O code is the same between Generals and 0 Hours, so we can probably move it to core. So before we do that, how about we first fetch and prune all the remotes? Yeah. Oops. All right. Gosh. Looks like we need to delete that then. Heavy disk access during simulation. Maybe you can test whether SPR is an improvement. This indeed needs looking into. The bottom edge is not notorious for hiding portions of the map. The edges are also not stable, and boundaries will differ depending on prior camera movements, camera heights, adjustments, resets. This is bug major. Bug major. Fix memory manager initialization. But it also adds a lot of complexity. Adding yet another phase to command line parsing is not the right way to go, in my opinion. Even 2 is one too many. Okay. That's a sign. I also tried this. But what was my thought on this? There was some problem with this approach. Otherwise, I would have also gone with this. Let me think about this. Right. The problem with this was that there are debug asserts in here, like in this function also, and then they can't be used. This was also one of my first attempts This was also one of my first tries to fix this, but it was not the right approach because there's also at least one assert. There's also at least one debug assert crash in the memory manager initialization. Because there is also at least one debug assert crash, which implies logging in the memory manager initialization. And on top of that, plus, and there was some other reason. The other reason was, I have to remember. The other reason was that init instance is needed, plus client instance also needs to be created before debug logging, because the instance ID affects the name of the log file. There's a crazy this is quite a bit complicated order of initialization, but this change corrects it correctly fixes it. There's at least one debug assert crash which applies logging when hit in the memory manager initialization, plus client instance. Client instance initialization also needs to be done before debug logging, because the instance ID affects the name of the log file. This is quite a bit complicated order of initialization, but this change fixes it. But it is not the right approach, because there's also at least one debug assert crash which applies logging when hit, and the memory manager initialization plus client instance for logging. Malloc allocator is needed regardless. There will always be things that need to be allocated. Need to be things that want to bypass memory manager in special cases. Memory manager itself needs to bypass new deletes. Not the right approach. And therefore, without new delete, order client instance debug log memory manager the rest. And this requires command line parse parts. I agree. It's quite complicated, but yeah, it's like the problem is these things have interdependencies, and so you need to create them in the right order. So for these things, you're not allowed to use allocations before we reach the memory manager, at least not with new delete. You need to do this before you can get the client instance. And you need the client instance before you get the debug log. And you need the debug log before the memory manager, because the memory manager eventually wants to use debug logging. And the debug log requires a client instance for its file name, the log file name. And the client instance requires a command line parse, at least parts, to know whether the client instance ID should be affected in some way. So the initialization order, the way I set it up here, is correct. It's technically correct. Is it complicated? Yes, but it is correct. So you can try to simplify it, but then yeah, you need to figure it out. I've done my part. I'm convinced that this change is correct. If someone can make it simpler, go ahead. But this suggestion is not correct. It's technically not correct, because it will violate still some things. It will violate this, and it will violate the instance ID. Then client instance also not correct. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Good. Okay. Sorry, but I still don't like this change. That's way too much complexity. I like that you removed the link dependency. Link dependency? What is a link? But instead of adding boilerplate to dynamically load debug help, why not remove it entirely? It has some hidden functionality I'm not seeing. You can't remove it. You can't remove it for crash because you can simply use memory dumps, which not only have the core stack. Removing debug help loader will not help because the driver will still try to load debug help DLL at its own discretion. The game does not influence it. General's code does not influence it. I don't like the message box from a user experience point of view. This fix is silent and the user needs to do nothing. It just works. Moving debug help loading will not help at all because the driver will still try to load debug help at its own discretion. I don't like to prevent the driver from loading the wrong run. We front load it for the driver. So the driver does not have to load it anymore. I do not like the message box from a user experience point of view. It will just work. Yeah, I don't like this change. It adds way too much complexity. Debug help DLL is still useful for creating core stacks. runtime. Looks like we need to update this code here. Fix debug help boot crash. Oof, what is this here? What is this? What? Okay, so we need to rebase this one. Okay. Did I push it? Yeah. Rebase domain. Erase the main branch. First to path. Bug minor. You say. Don't stop repairing if you hit S or click stop. Instead, they will stay on the ground and don't automatically lift back up when done repairing. Okay. Minor, you say. You say pilot sometimes does not wet up vehicles with transponder slots. Does not. You say pilot sometimes enters vehicles instead of vetting them up, instead of promoting them. What's up? Okay. This should be good to go, he says. Several mistakes in the comments. Let me see. Garrison point might not be initialized yet. I don't like the way this is documented, because the problem is this here is meant to be deleted, right? And the comment is here at the place where the code is meant to be deleted once we break compatibility with retail, right? So this will be deleted. And then naturally, we will also delete the comment because it's here. So instead, the comment should be moved here so that it stays with this fix here. So I don't think that this is documented correctly. Garrison points not initialized. Let me open that. Yeah. So we okay, so first we rebase that on main branch. Then we search for this text here. And then we move this first, we move this down. And then we say, now initializes the now deploys let's say redeploys the occupants after the garrison points had a chance to initialize after prior call to on containing. And then here we add info. A bit astonished by he uses not if def but if. Oh boy. If it should be like this, if and if. Ensure our contents are positioned. Ensure our occupants are positioned correctly. Here we remove that. And for moving this call elsewhere will cause a retail mismatch. Here we say if not retail. Okay, so now redeploys the occupants after the garrison points had a chance to initialize after prior call to on containing. Then we move this here and this here. Okay, then we take this and replace that. Okay, this is how it should be done. Yeah. So now when we delete this, actually we can move it like this. Yeah, this whole thing can be deleted. Okay. There's something different here. That's strange. This VS Code is a strange editor. It adds these tabs at strange positions. It's very annoying. Okay, this looks good. I also don't think that this is a... I don't think that's a bug fix because I was unable to figure out what this would fix. Like, I didn't see any user-facing change, so I would just mark it as a fix. Now redeploys the arguments after the garrison points had a chance to initialize after prior call to uncontaining. This avoids asserting but no this avoids asserting but no this avoids hitting assert or let's say no user facing bug was observed. With prior call. Okay. Fix comments, fix if def, fix conditions. I fixed the code comments and the pre-processor conditions. Rebased on main branch. Fix governance. Okay. Rebase on main branch. Iterators incompatible debug assert. What is this? I got this error when exiting a short skirmish game. Iterators incompatible. Iterators incompatible debug assert. Iterators. Debug build. Debug build. Debug build. Okay. So he means this debug build. Let's see. When exiting a short skirmish game of a debug build. The assert also happens when replaying the game. Okay. What is this? Okay. Let me go to main branch. Checking. Debug. Okay. Then build again. Oof. Vector iterators incompatible. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Okay. I see. PTR. PTR IT. Oh, it's empty. Iterator. Why is it complaining? That's weird. Okay, that is very strange indeed. So it is null. It's empty. Maybe it means that this object is already deleted. Let me see. This null. Looks okay. Looks okay. Yeah. This is extremely strange. It's empty. So this one should be the end. Could it be that this calls maybe in here and deletes it? Let me see. Oh. here. That's a problem, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I see the problem. Yeah. So here it's deleted, so it has been invalidated already. So what we need to do is we need to assign this here, right? Like here. Does it call it true? True. Clean danglers. What does that mean? Clean danglers. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it will definitely erase it here. Yeah. It will definitely erase it. So what we can do is we can assign this and this. We do this. While I think this fixes it. While that is not the end, clean up. Yeah. And we are guaranteed to... Oh no. Oof. If it was null... If it was null... That is upsetting. That is upsetting. Yeah. Oh shit, this function is bad. This function is bad because it has like these conditions where it just doesn't clean up anything. So here, if the sequential script is null, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't delete anything. But then if it did delete, then it will erase it. Oh boy. Ugh. That's shit. It's really bad. Yeah. Clean danglers. This function is an abomination. Yeah. How about we simply while how about we say we say while sex script is this while sex scripts script deletes. I think we can do that. And we don't do an erase here. We do clear, and then we do that. Scripts now. No. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So we loop through the thing, we delete all the scripts in there, and then when everything is done, we clear the whole container and we're done. Yeah. Okay, let me put a breakpoint here. Okay, load replay. Okay. 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 So sequential scripts is 1. 1. Oh, there's something in there. Yeah. Okay. Script to delete. Now we take the next one. Next one is null. We delete this guy. And then we are done. Then we set this to null just for good measure. Then we increment the iterator. Then we're here and then we're done. Clear. That should work. And it does. Okay, cool. Then that is fixed. Then let me search for that same thing in generals, which is here. Maybe add a comment. Clear sequential. Say a clear delete and clear all sequential scripts. Okay. Okay. Fix sequential scripts. Deletion, cleanup, deletion, cleanup, or reset. 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 I think we can actually remove this here. It's not necessary, right? Yeah, can remove that. Keep it simple. Gen ZH fix fix using invalidated iterator. Fix using invalidated iterator in script engine resets. Validated scripts iterator. Don't have to be so specific. Fix using invalidated iterator. Maybe we should say fix use of invalidated iterator. This change fixes use of invalidated iterator. Fixes one. The problem is that the script deletes, erases the iterator and invalidates it. In VC6, and invalidates it. In practice, it is not a problem, but it is illegal. It is technically illegal. The simple the simpler fix here would have been fix would have been here would have been but I chose against this because cleanup sequential script is bad. It has a null check at the beginning, which will lead to no erasure, in which case this loop would never finish. It's risky. Okay, fix minor gen zh. Can make it a stability thing. Stability. Make game compile in VS 2019. Okay, the PR above made the code base compatible with Clang, but also incompatible. This PR should make it work on all the relevant compilers. Okay, that's good. Type name hack. Oof. 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 Is there not a better solution for this? What is this? Why is this so weird? Oh my gosh. This is extremely unsightly. Oof. This is extremely unsightly. How do we fix that? Oh boy. I'm curious why this is the only place that has this issue. Why is there no other place? Using type name. Okay, class. Let me see this. Using type name. Can we maybe... How about we do type def, type name, key class. Using, public using. Key class. Okay, so there's a class in here. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's not every day that they put another class into a template class, so that's why it's maybe the only place. Okay, but how about maybe we can do type using type. Instead of doing these unholy hacks, can we try type def, type name, this, and then key class. So basically put a type def, type name, key class, like this. Type def, type name, key class. And then here we return so it complains about this one, yeah? Const. this is extremely unsettling. Why is this complaining on Clang? Type name, type name, type name. I don't like this hack to be here. Oh man. Why is such a thing necessary? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. These compilers. Is there a way to write this differently? How about we move? Can we move the... Yeah, I don't have a better idea. It's kind of weird that it's not just one compiler, but both compilers have this bullshit going on. Like Clang wants this and MSVC wants that. That's some bullshit here. Absolute mega bullshit. Boah. That is really bullshit. Using type name, key class. Type name, key class. This could be a good fit in CPP macros .h. Something like if define else and if let me say define MSVC or MSC 1920. Let's see. Code, else, define. Then use like so. Type name. This could be a better fit for CBP macros. Primitive channel. So let's see if this compiles. I wonder if doing this would make all compilers happy. Can you check if this That's weird. That's weird. Do you have a way to test Clang? Hack 1. Do you have a way to test Clang? I find it very strange that Clang would complain about this, because it does look correct with type name here. I wonder if we made a mistake in moving it. I find it extremely weird. This should not fail on Clang. Like type name or const type name, or try const type name. On Clang. Yeah. To me, that looks perfectly correct. Let me get key. Here, const type name. This should work, right? Yeah. I mean, type name const, that this errors I can understand, but const type name, this it should work, in my opinion. So maybe writing like this will work. And this maybe makes all the other compilers hack. Maybe I think there's a chance that this can be achieved without hacks. Yeah, I think so. where's the debug assert crash? Let me see. It must be somewhere here. Init memory manager. Here, I think here. No. Here. It was somewhere. Hold on. Here maybe. No. Init. I think it was in here. No. Let me see. Init. Here it is. Is there maybe one more, or is it just this one? Add to list. No, it seems to be just this one. I mean, we could move memory manager in front, but then we need to guarantee that memory manager never does any loggings, right? We can move memory manager first, but then need to never use logging in it. We can move memory manager first, but then need to never use logging in it. We could use assert then. First above all, but then need to never use logging in it. Could use assert then. Okay, let me switch to that thing. Let's create a new branch. Yeah, let's actually create a new branch off of main. Fix memory initialization issues 2. Okay. Okay, then we cherry pick these two. Then we okay, so we reset this one. We reset the malloc allocator. We reset this one. We reset this one. And this one. We reset these guys. And these guys. And this guy, maybe. Okay. Debug. Then here, here we do that. Let me unstage these things. So then we can say here, init memory manager, debug log. So then, can we move it to the end? I'm not sure. Initialized the memory manager. We say memory manager is already initialized. Debug init afterwards. Okay. Initialized the memory manager prior to main. Okay. Then we need to go in here, and then here, and then here we put this to asserts. There's another function here. Oh, there's more logging in here. Asserts. Asserts. I looked deeper. There are more asserts in that. And that. And that. Find memory pool. Yeah, this looks like there's a bigger amount of asserts. Moving moving logging behind memory manager will lose logging for all of this. Debug crash. Debug crashing. Debug crash. Logging, crashing. I don't know if it's a good idea. I mean, it certainly would be great to have the memory manager before we do logging first, and then so that everything can use allocations. But yeah, it has downsides. It has upsides. It's cleaner, but it has downsides as well. Yeah, pick your poison. So yeah, we need to decide is allocation more important everywhere, or the ability to log everywhere? To log assert everywhere. Let's say it's not just allocation, is new, using new. So if we can move memory manager before here, then we don't need this extra command line pass for just the client instance. Now this order still needs to be there. But then if we move the memory manager before here, that means we can't use debug logging for the memory manager. So we lose that. What we lose right now, we can't use memory manager for these things, for the initial command line pass for the client instance, in the client instance, and in the debug log. We can't use a memory manager, but it's possible, which I've done in this change. So that's possible. If we move memory manager above here, we lose a logging in the memory manager, but then we can simplify code in these guys, because they can then use allocation with new, and they don't have these constraints. Yeah. So code then becomes simpler. Yeah. So it's a trade-off. What is more important? Simplicity and using new in here, or having logging in here? What is more important? Hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, both approaches are valid. Both approaches are valid. I'm certainly I'm friend of simple code. I agree that the complexity is ass. Yeah. Complexity is ass. I mean, what I can do is I can prepare change with how it will work. Maybe what we can do is in here. Let me enable RTS debug. Let me first save. Save all. What we can do is we can maybe fall back to assert. Debug crashing. Okay. Maybe what could work is if we can say if it has not been initialized yet, debug crash. Debug crash. What does it do? Debug crash. Here, debug crash. So if the debug flags are 0, show window. What is this? Show window. Message box wrapper. Why don't we why can't we do the crash box before ignoring asserts? Debug log. Debug log. What we can try to do is make debug crash more usable when it was not yet initialized. Can we do that? Okay, so let's revert this here again. Remove that. Then here, we don't do it here, do it here. Debug shut down. There we go. This is the only place it calls it now. There's another place. Okay, so this would accommodate this. Oh, I spammed a lot of posts in here. The game can crash when a GLA player tunnel network is being subdued and they surrender. Oof. Oof. GLA player's tunnel network is being subdued and they surrender. Oh my gosh, I never heard about this one. Jesus. Let's add a crash label. Crash critical. Ice. combat Chinook. We can have 12 rocket man shooting with 2 Humvees, with 2 filled Humvees, loaded Humvees. Oh boy. What's the time? 2 hours, 22. Okay. All right. Oof. Okay, let's see if the current implementation compiles. But yeah, we then need to we would then need to make debug crash usable without being initialized. Yeah. That's a bit it's a bit unsettling. Okay, but other than the code for debug crash, I think this is good to go. So we initialize the memory manager, which then initializes the debug at the end of it, and then we can pass a command line, and command line can allocate whatever. Instead of, let me go back to WinMain. think we can just remove this. I think we can reset these two things here. Okay. And this one. Okay, then we would need to go to debug crash. And debug crash, and we say the crash buffer. Why is the crash buffer here? Okay, how about we move this down here when it is used for the first time? And so the message box wrapper is pretty simple. Okay, message box wrapper. Box wrapper, crash buffer, crash buffer, do crash box. So we could run here an alternative assert box, but without all the logging shit. But the crash box also. Crash box. Why can I not jump to the crash box? Okay, so the crash box also does logging. Log result. Yeah, okay, but that is optional. can call crashbox without this result. I have an idea. We can do, we take this guy here. Int result. So this code, this needs to go first. Yeah, so we put this up here. Then we have an else here. And then we move this stuff in here. And this actually not. This goes down here. Yeah. And then this should just say results. Yeah. And then here, strcat, crash buffer, do log output, whack funny characters. Then the whack funny characters, we take this and also put it here. And then we move this here. Ah, that's behind that. Do log output. Yeah. Crash buffer. So I think we remove this here. And we take this. And then here we call this false, no logging. Do crash box, no logging. Log results. Yeah. Okay, strcat. This might work. Work funny characters, crash buffer. Yeah. Yeah. by hackers at tweak. Show message box. Show a message box without any logging when when the debug when debug was not yet initialized. I think this will work. Yeah. Okay, remove that. Now shows a message box without any logging when debug was not yet initialized. Actually, I don't think that needs documentation. Actually, not shows. Debug crash. What we can also do is we can say here if the debug's flags not 0, or we say const bool use logging. If use logging, use logging. Yeah. Let me move this comment to the start here. I can't do like this. Okay, then we don't need this here anymore. So use logging here. And then we move these guys out here. And then we can use int results. Then we can remove this. Can make this const. Okay, that will work. Const is the way to go then. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I think this will work. Yeah. So basically, we should now be able to use debug logging before debugging is initialized. Yeah. It doesn't do logging then, but it does do asserting, showing a message box essentially, which I guess is good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. Okay, I will take I will I'm working on a new change. Almost we'll post later. Good. Then I will take a break here. Has been 2 hours 50. Good. We got a bit of stuff done, a little bit of reviewing, And I already forgot what I did the whole session. I remember I did look into memory manager initialization because I have that open right now, but I already forgot everything else I did before that. what, what we did work on multiple things, but I already forgot. We fixed one problem, right, with the iterator invalidation. Yeah. Yeah, good. Then I wish you a great day or night until next time. Goodbye.